Okay, so I think it was yesterday, Joe Biden is doing an interview with George Stephanopoulos, right? And like they're talking about whether or not, like, how the convention is going to work, basically, with the COVID thing, which is a whole thing in and of itself. I know we're not going to do this right now, but the DNC's dealing with these primaries. The convention is fucking outrageous. Anyway, so he's giving this interview, and this is the transcript of a section where he's talking. He says, well, we're going to do a convention, may have to do a virtual convention. I know. I think we should be thinking about that right now. The idea of holding a convention is going to be necessary, but we may not be able to put 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people in one place, and that's very possible. Again, let's see where it is. What we do between now and then is going to dictate a lot of that as well. But my point is that I think you just got to follow the science. Listen to the experts. And if that's the case, it's the case. And here's where this goes completely off the rails. He says, but we cannot let this. We've never allowed any crisis from a civil war straight through to a pandemic in 17, all the way around in 16. We have never let our democracy take second fiddle. We can both have a democracy and elections at the same time, protect the public health.
Right. I mean, he's not wrong. What the fuck? Dude,
I don't get it, man. There's a guy that I always argue with on Facebook about this sort of shit, and we got into it the other day.
Fucking hell.
He's just like a straight up neolib. Like, the dude is like, he's like 2 bad days away from just being a full blown conservative. But we're like talking about this shit, and he's like, yeah, Trump's handling this so poorly. There's no way, like, his supporters will turn and vote for Biden. I'm like, dude, Trump is going to wipe his ass with this fucking dude. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Listen to the way this guy fucking talks.
Let me tell you, we're not going to have democracy play second fiddle to this little, what do you call it? Little germ. We're sitting around here. We're going down there. We're going to go down to Racine. We're going to go down to Manitowoc. We're going down to Brown County, Menominee. And, we're going to get out there. We're going to get the Wisconsin people to vote.
Honestly, like, at this point, the Dean scream is more coherent than anything that Joe Biden is saying. Like, the Dean scream would be a return to form for Joe Biden at this point. I know these intros are supposed to be funny, but how on earth can you call Tuesday's election in Wisconsin like in any way legitimate? Right. Yeah. It's a total shit show. Can you fucking imagine if fucking Bernie Sanders was out in front of this thing and like encouraging people to show up and vote for him in person?
Absolutely.
People would be losing their fucking minds. Yeah. Outrageous.
So, anyway. I mean, we're basically... just so we all understand, this is the Democratic primary is no longer a legitimate election.
No, not at all. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And so,
whatever the fuck.
We're in the middle of a global pandemic, and it kind of does have to play second fiddle to that at the moment. Sorry, Joe.
Not to our democracy.
But
all the way 17, way back in 16.
Once we're all allowed out of our houses and like drinking and fucking again, like, that we're going to be thinking and talking about this. And like, we will look back and remember like, oh, right. They held an election when nobody could leave their home.
I mean, you know what? Who gives a fuck anyway? Like, it's fine, not like, yeah. I mean, fucking, I keep saying this and people are poo-pooing me, but I think there's an even 50-50 shot that Trump is just like, we're not going to have an election this year. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
That legit might happen. I don't know.
I've been saying to people, and by people, I mean mostly myself, is like, oh, let's just cross that bridge when we get to it. Because like everything else sucks already.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it is funny. Like I was really stressed out about the whole Biden thing until the COVID thing hit. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is more stressful. And now like the Biden thing is sort of this like annoying thing that's happening in the background.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not like wild.
At least the Biden thing, it's like I'm not worried that like, you know, my mom will be dead next week because of him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Sweet. Cool intro. All right, guys.
Super happy and fun.
Let's start the
I
fucking
lost.
show.
Voices, the things they said, voices, some from those dead, all the voices heard. Voices, things we say, voices, they're in your head, all the voices heard.
Hello, everyone. You have Kempa.
And Skylar.
And Shannon.
And we do not have Flo today.
Boo.
She did visit us briefly at the beginning, but she's dealing with some technical difficulties. But there is a quality microphone on the way, and we're super excited to have her back this Friday. So yeah, what quite a weekend, and we all sound like we're super excited about stuff.
Yeah, we're going into, is this week 3 of isolation? Are we like
technically the government said what, March 19th that we have to, like, they made us do it then, but we did it like a week or so before.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it feels like we're going into our second year of
yeah.
quarantine, isolation, distancing, whatever the fuck we're gonna call it.
I didn't know it would have this weird effect on me where I just feel like I'm becoming dull. I'm like, everything is turning gray, and I talk on the phone with my mom just about every day, and we don't have shit to report because we're doing the same thing we did yesterday and the day before that.
Yeah.
So that like gray dull feeling is called depression.
Oh, I'm learning so much this month about mental health.
You're getting the mental health crash course this month.
Welcome to the club.
Wow. Man, I hope next week I get what should it be? Like how about one that not many people know about, like a borderline personality disorder or something?
I hope you do not.
That's the one where you're like kind of a manipulative narcissist, right?
Yeah, mostly.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, all of our mental health advocate listeners are going to hear this and be like, you guys, like, stop.
Yeah, we're gonna get some tweets.
Yeah.
I shan't respond.
Okay, we're sorry.
We
just beforehand.
Yeah, guys, bear with us. It's been a rough few weeks. I mean, obviously for everybody, but
for all of our listeners as well. Yeah,
we are not an exception to that. It is definitely like, I mean, I'm holding on, but I'm starting to feel the burn, and not in a good way.
Yeah. Mm. Same. I'm just very thankful that my buddy gave me his Disney Plus pass last night.
There you go.
Yes.
And I've been binging on Pixar animated shorts.
Dude, you got to get that Mandalorian. And all those Baby Yoda memes will make sense.
Yeah, I have to. I've only seen the original 3 Star Wars plus Episode 1, so I've got a lot.
Stay there. No, stay there.
Oh, okay.
God, you're in such a better world.
You're in the sweet spot.
If I could forget the prequels and these most recent trilogy, I'd be such a happier man. If my memories of Star Wars were just that original trilogy.
Okay, I feel better about this, but I can watch Mandalorian, and that will be okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay. You saw, I remember seeing Episode 1 in the theater, and this Jar Jar Binks just like train wreck, and I'm like, oh no, I don't need to do this again.
Real stupid and like inexplicably racist. It's weird that like George Lucas just went off hardcore for like the racism thing. You guys froze up. This is no good. Hang on. What time are we at here? 14:20.
You are. All right.
There we go. Sorry.
Oh, I think even our internet is feeling the fog.
We have a great show for you today.
Fucking hell.
I like how like 3 weeks in, 4-ish weeks into this, you can tell Skylar and my hair are getting a little out of control for us.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we're not sure what to do with it anymore.
You've got a lot. You both have some extra volume.
Yeah.
Because it's getting longer.
Because I have way too much hair.
I don't know what to do with it.
I mean, you can go the Britney Spears route.
I might go the Britney Spears route, honestly. That might happen before this thing is over with. I might not be able to handle it.
I think it would look normal on you, but like I feel like my head would be shaped very funny.
No, I've done it before. It looks terrible. I'll wear hats to do the podcast for the entirety of the time.
Until, October.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Oh, God.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Well, let's start a little bit locally because we've been kind of in other spaces, I guess, recently. Well, I guess we were local last episode too, but the other day, Teresa Cliff did a article in the Bee about how our police here in Sacramento continue to harass the homeless community. And Shannon, as a frontline worker and expert on this issue, would you like to sort of give us the lay of the land on what's been going down?
Well, the lay of the land is that, we know that the CDC has issued guidelines that say that we should not be moving people around during the fucked up course of this pandemic. And the directive says that unless individual housing units are available, do not clear encampments during community spread of COVID-19. Clearing encampments can cause people to disperse throughout the community and break connections with service providers. This increases the potential for infectious disease spread. Makes a lot of sense to me.
So don't move people. Stop.
So don't move people.
Yeah, don't do the thing where you roll in and fucking kick people out and throw all their shit in a dump truck and drive away with it.
Because there's a global pandemic that is killing people.
Also because that is all the things that those people have in the whole world. And even if there isn't a global pandemic, that kind of shit is unconscionable.
I mean, we were trying that argument for years and that wasn't
right.
Now we
Turns
have
out that one just
on our
doesn't
side.
have any weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what that report from Teresa Cliff talks about how cops rolled up on folks early in the morning who are sleeping out at City Hall and asking them to pack up their stuff and get out. It's time to get up. So go.
Lovely.
And that's bullshit. I mean, we've got to think about this. One, so we're talking in terms of this pandemic, right? Like people need to be located in spaces where service providers can get in touch with them should they start to present symptoms, right? Like we also want to make sure that we're not moving people around the city and the county because it does that potentially increases the spread of the virus, right? Like this is the thing that I've said from the beginning is my fear in terms of this virus and folks experiencing homelessness is that I am going to be the one to transmit it to the people I serve because they're in their encampments, like living pretty isolated lives. Whereas I'm bouncing around to the grocery store, prior to this lockdown, going to the grocery store, going to the bar, going to Target, just like I'm all over the place in contact with many, many more people than people experiencing homelessness would be. And so now we've got cops who were in the same situation I was in terms of just like moving around about the city and the county, fucking hassling people while they're just trying to get some rest. I mean, the attitude with the people that I serve every day is that these are folks who are marginalized anyway, and what this pandemic has caused is for them to be even further marginalized by the people who serve them. Not intentionally. I mean, we have to keep that distance and we have to change the way that we provide services to them. But no matter whether or not we are trusted people, it is still othering to them, right? We're having to put space between us where that space otherwise didn't exist. And it's fucked up on a public health level, and I wish Flo was here to talk about that. It's fucked up just like because these are people that we're talking about.
But yeah, on a fundamental level, like the shelter in place, it goes for all of us. And we all know the logic behind it now.
Right.
So if you move around, if you interact with other people, if you get within their space and, you know, you create a potential for contraction of coronavirus, then it can continue to spread throughout our community at a frightening rate. If you're moving these fucking folks who have nowhere to go, who are living homeless, their home is in that tent that you're rousting them out of.
Right.
They are themselves in increased danger of getting it from somebody else that they run into throughout the day. And if they are carriers, they are in danger, even though they want to shelter in place, giving it to someone else. So, you know, you have to. It's simple. It's like the simple, it's very simple public health terms. And I wanted just us to lay that out here, even though we don't have Flo, that like, this is a simple directive and our police are endangering our community. They're endangering the most vulnerable community out of all of us. And not enough people seem to care. Definitely not people in City Hall.
Yeah. I mean, it not only does it put folks who are experiencing homelessness at risk. I mean, like I've been saying, you know, on this show a whole bunch, if those folks are at a higher risk for coronavirus, then so are we. You know, they have to be taken care of as well. And another thing that moving them around and kicking them out and rousting them and shit, and moving them around does is it makes it impossible for the folks who are working with them and trying to keep track.
Yes.
You know, who's healthy and who's not and who needs help and who needs this. Well, they're fucking moving everybody around. So how the fuck how are we supposed to keep that all, you know, how are we supposed to keep all that information straight? Right. You know?
I mean, we've had situations like that since the lockdown has happened where people that my program serves are in contact with their worker. And, you know, Sacramento is so fucked up because there is no like central intake system for people. So organizations don't share information about where a person may be camping. So we have outreach workers trying to get in contact with people. And it's just like, you know, on one night they may be at City Hall and then they're moved and they can't make it back to where we are. So we have to wait for, you know, 3, 4, 5 days to get in contact with them. And then by that point, like maybe that shelter space isn't even available for them anymore. So we're creating more problems than we are solutions. And we're also doing it like we're talking about one of the things, there was a sweep on Tuesday over on Ahern and North B where they said the reason that they did that sweep is because people sleeping on the sidewalk were preventing folks from coming and going to the essential services in that area, which is always their reason, right? Like it's total bullshit. And like, stop fucking using those fucked up reasons for moving people. We know that one,
and like it's a fire lane or whatever. It's like, dude, guy, if you fucking pull up and need to put a building out, I'm sure these people will get out of the way.
Well, these
absolutely
PR people for the cops too, they know that they're just being fucking shitty people as they explain it to you. They know that they're being snarky and turning morality on its head, and you can see it in their eyes. It's like that officer when they were kicking those folks out of that house last week, those homeless folks, right? I mean, from a perspective of, you know, during our right to rest fight and trying to end the anti-camping ordinances years back, we always would say, at least if you want to give these citations, you at least have to provide an answer for them. Where can they go? Yeah. Where can they go at night? Where can they go right now? Don't make them walk around like fucking zombies 20 hours out of the fucking day.
Right.
Yeah.
And what basically Gavin Newsom, our governor, has claimed that they're going to do is provide spaces for every single homeless person or person experiencing homelessness in our state.
Right.
And I get a little frustrated because I have all these friends that are like, oh, he's so amazing, he's so presidential.
Yeah, same.
He's
right. Yeah.
like when you view him through the lens of like Trump, like through that sort of juxtaposition, obviously he looks phenomenal.
Dude,
but
everybody looks phenomenal in fucking comparison to Trump.
But he's a total abject failure on homelessness, and like people don't care. It's this like rally around the flag moment. The same thing like with it's like a 9/11 moment with this governor.
I think it's enough for people that he's like, he says things like, oh, there's, so many, whatever, thousands of beds in hotels that are available right now. We're going to work on getting unhoused people into those beds. Like people hear that and they're like, cool, that's all I need to know. And it doesn't matter. Does he like follow up and do
if it ever happens?
That shit? Like,
well, and we know locally what is happening is that this community only, as of Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember, as of last week, officially accepted the funding that is supposed to help folks get into motel rooms and those trailers. And our community has also made it so access those spaces if they have symptoms or have been in contact with people who have had symptoms. So it's not every person experiencing homelessness. It's a very specific demographic of people, which we have to remember that through this whole pandemic, service providers are being impacted greatly. The way that we do our services are so different. We know overnight shelter beds are down because we had, shelters have to make space for social distancing. Internal program pressures are so different than they used to be in terms of staffing and like the supplies that are available to us to serve folks, and also our community partnerships are different because people are working remotely or they're closed completely. Like there's any number of things that are really preventing these solutions from actually like taking place in our community, and that the folks responsible for that are the city and the county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the county just said that, right? You mentioned they got that money. They said that, well, they've found 221 hotel rooms in the region that they're going to fill for homeless folks. And for some reason, they're waiting until the middle of April to do this. That's like, which, by the way, will be the apex, if projections are correct, of our.
Right. Wait.
Yeah.
How many rooms did you just say?
221.
What the fuck is that? That's like not even a whole hotel.
Yep. And how many people experiencing homelessness are there in our county?
Yeah, how many thousands?
Yeah, the point in time count is just over 5,000. It's 53 something.
But you usually say it's about double that, right? Around 10,000.
Oh yeah, I mean that methodology is so fucked.
Yeah. So we've got all those folks, and they're basically gonna what is that? 2% of the full number. They're trying to get in there directly when the apex of our curve hits. Lovely.
Great. Yeah.
So
just to remind everybody, man, if these guys are down at the river sick. Oh, sorry. I think we're breaking up again.
It was
Shannon, hold on. Okay, you're back. Can you start that thought over again, Shannon? Oh, no, we lost her again.
Yeah, hang on.
And you're back again?
Okay. All right, there she is. All right. Uh-oh. Man, the universe does not want us to record this episode.
Yes.
It feels like internet tonight is wonky all around. Oh, I think we might have lost her.
Yeah, we might have. Yeah, we sure did.
There she goes. Well, let's keep going.
All right.
Because we gotta. All right, there she is.
Fuck.
All right, there she is.
All right, you were saying?
Great. what I was saying was that Board of Supervisors meeting last week was so fucking frustrating I mean, there was lots of reasons for that, but mostly for every question that a supervisor had about the implementation of this process of getting folks into motels or trailers, the response was, we'll come back next week with more plans. And so that meeting is actually taking place tomorrow, where we're supposed to have more plans. But
That's Tuesday for listeners.
yes, sir, Tuesday at 10, I believe it is, at the board, and 5 for the city. There are agenda items for each meeting on this topic. And you know, my pushback to that is, what the fuck have you been doing for a month? Like, this is insane that there has been no real plans or even fucking ideas about what they're gonna do to get people inside. Like, what service provider is gonna do that? Like, how are you going to get connected to people? How are you gonna make sure that you know where they're at? Like, nothing. There's nothing.
So I think the problem here is from the top all the way down.
Yeah.
I think Newsom obviously has not followed through on his promise. And I think people need to hold his feet to the fire. Again, I think this is sort of a rally around the flag moment where Californians and journalists particularly are afraid to be any bit adversarial with Governor Newsom, but they need to be on this topic because he's failing. So that's the number one thing. I'd like to see my fellow journalists push him harder. Maybe I'll try and get on some press conferences and stir shit up. And then coming down to the county, like, we have to put, I guess, our board of soups, all of their feet to the fire. Those of us who live where the three of us live, Phil Cerna's our member, and he's kind of amenable to the pushes that we've given him. Would you say, Shannon? That's
yeah. I mean, yeah, I think he seems like he is definitely interested in getting this pushed. This particular issue, he's interested in getting this moving as soon as possible.
Okay.
Based on the meetings that I have sat in on.
So we've got Cerna, we've got Kennedy. What's the third guy's name?
Natoli.
Don Natoli. All of them should be leaned on. The Sioux are veritable like characters in like a fucking like evil characters in like fucking Game of Thrones. So you're not gonna get shit from them.
Fuck the Susans.
Yeah, but I mean, you could still bother them. And oh, by the way, for the protesters, I'm collecting addresses of politicians in the region. So if you know of anybody or if you need any, reach out to me. And then, you know, we got to lean on them, and then we got to lean on our city. We got to lean on Darrell to actually lean into the city manager and to have him lean into Chief Hahn, because they're allowing our police to do this monstrous behavior.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think we need to remember, like, there's this, we had the Bee reported out about those trailers that were brought out to Cal Expo, and you've got all the, you know, these folks, reps from the city out there checking out the trailers, and they're so nice, and there's a, you know, they look so comfortable, and that ends up just like shared far and wide. The trailers are here, right? But we need to ask the question that should immediately follow the celebration of the trailers: how the fuck do people get into them? So start thinking in that way. Like, it's not enough that they're announcing that these things are rolling out. We need an actual plan, and we need to hold their feet to the fire on a plan.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Don't let the pretty trailers fake you out that they're actually doing something.
I mean, I think it's like, it's worth noting that the trailers and like shit like that are a good start. Like, it's not worth being mad that they're doing it or whatever. It's just, you can't take that as like, okay, cool, the problem is in good hands, because it's fucking not. Like, they're like, right. They like the part where it looks good for the papers, where they have something they can say in a soundbite and make themselves sound like they're doing something. But if there's no there's nobody in the trailers, if everybody's still sleeping outside, and if people are getting fucking rousted out of their like spaces by cops in the middle of this thing, then the problem is not being dealt with correctly.
Right.
And as long as there's like a coronavirus, as long as there folks who are outside right now are vulnerable to it, we're all vulnerable to it. Because we can all get over it, that's fucking fine. But if they're cruising around with it down at the river and they come walking right back out, we're gonna have to go right back into our fucking houses again. You know?
Yeah.
This whole thing's fucking devastating. Like,
Truly,
these people literally, those who do understand the severity and how much danger they're in are frightened. And do they have anybody in our political realm? Do they have any law enforcement to look to help them? No, they're scared of them because these people are giving them reason to be scared of them.
Right. Did you see this passage in that article? It says, the city used to allow homeless to sleep outside City Hall during the day, but not at night, but then voted to switch it in February of 2019 after police were caught on video removing homeless from under the overhang during a nighttime rainstorm.
Oh, I remember that.
What the fuck kind of Cruella de Vil bullshit is that?
It's comically evil.
Like,
it's like mustache twirling, like
yeah,
totally.
What the fuck is that?
It'll put you out into the rain.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like maybe we had brought this up on the show before, the valid concern about what happens when everybody is shut in their homes and now the fucking police department have free reign over, the folks that they profile, right? So we're talking about Black folks, we're talking about people experiencing homelessness, we're talking about brown folks. Like, so now they're just out there and they're fucking with all of them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is just, it's like they all of a sudden have a hall pass and they all, they get off on showing their authority or like their little bit of power to just completely fuck people over.
Yeah, I think it's good to remind people the importance of cop watching right now because there are fewer and fewer of us out there. And when you can, I mean, these cops are bored. All of them are considered essential. And so you get one call, 7 cop cars will show up for the smallest fucking thing. I've seen it all over the downtown grid. I think I've been considering doing a little project on that where we respond to calls and see sort of how that rolls out, how the police respond. Because,
well, even during the best of times, man, like I feel like every other time, I live pretty close to Scissor Chavez Park, and every time I go walking by it, there's always like a homeless dude trying to take a nap and like 5 cop cars like pulled up into the park with like 12 dudes talking to him. It's like, for real? Like,
do you need that? Do you need to do that?
Exactly. Meanwhile, I don't know if you've ever had to call the cops because there's actually an emergency happening. Fucking 5 cars ain't showing up for that shit.
Oh, no, definitely not. And do you think these cops are offering services? Do you think they're offering them a hotel room, a motel voucher? Which
absolutely fucking
Shannon,
not.
You mentioned they have the power to offer motel vouchers. They don't do it. They're not there to help. They don't fucking care about these people.
Yeah, they aren't here to serve and protect these people.
No,
they're here to exert their fucking will over them.
It's about making. It's like that. Like at the core of their charge is how do I make people miserable, and that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I cannot believe in this. When people are just like searching for some place to like some sort of fucking grounding, that there's folks out there that, I mean, not I cannot believe, I can believe it, but that this is how folks are spending their time. I mean, obviously Chief Hahn needs to get back to meditating with Kempa.
I mean, we've fallen out since the show started.
I can't believe it.
I'll see what I can do. I know he was in ALF recently, and I know a few of their alums. I'll try and get him on the line. Yeah. So, I mean, this is all frustrating, devastating. It comes down to basically leaning on our politicians right now. And so if any listeners want to do that, there are many ways to do that. I'd highly recommend that. Should
Maybe we
move
can
on?
link to some of those things in the show notes.
Absolutely.
As action steps.
Yes.
Totes.
Yeah.
All right.
Real quick, before we get away from the cops, I just want to say, for the record, if you're a cop who
Fuck you.
listens to this show,
Oh.
well, hold on now. We've been pretty hard on the cops this episode. I
think I need to be meditating again.
If you are a police officer, if you're a Sac PD officer and you're listening to the show, go fuck yourself. And that's it. Eat shit. What's the next topic?
Moving on. But I think that was a very cogent point, Skylar, and thank you for taking a moment to highlight it.
I can't believe we forgot it.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us back.
Yeah, we really
Skylar.
danced around that until. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was crystal clear.
That's important. I think we really have to. We've got to aim for clarity here.
Let me be clear.
Let me be very clear.
There it is.
Been waiting for months for that. So Sky, you shared that who does this sort of this graph?
So it's a site called covid19.healthdata.org. And it does COVID-19 projections and basically like illustrates these graphs day by day. So you can kind of it projects the curve based on like who's sheltering in place, where we're at right now.
Stop. We just got your audio back and we lost your video for a while. So start again.
Okay.
Start again with the website and go again from there.
All right, cool.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah. So it's this site called covid19.healthdata.org. And it is basically, it looks like it's an aggregate for COVID-19 projections. It's pretty cool, actually. We should link to this in the show notes too. But it kind of gives you these like interactive graphs to work with that illustrate the curves and kind of like give you the projections on like, you know, how many beds will we need, how many beds will we have available, how many ventilators will we need, you know, blah 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 blah. And it's just kind of an interesting way to parse all this data. You can go by the country, you can go state by state. But the reason I wanted to talk about it today is that the curve for California looks really, really good.
But I just want to say this is done by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, and that's at the University of Washington. So a lot of experts on this, and I think it's been a really great resource from the beginning. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less all I have. Like it's our peak. They're projecting our peak to be April 15th. This
is for California, right?
This is for California specifically. Yeah, our peak should be April 15th, according to this. They project that we will need like 4,800 beds, but we have like 26,000 available. So we're well in hand. Like even during our peak, our hospitals should be able to handle the load. And then this thing has, if you believe this data, this thing basically has the curve more or less flattening out by June 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which is really optimistic. Who knows? That would certainly be nice.
It's saying our state would have about 1,783 deaths by August 4th, which given some earlier projections, I think that again, I mean, that's a loss of life and that's really sad, but like that seems like a really good number compared to what I was worried for California.
Oh yeah, totally.
You look at New York's curve on this site and it looks scary, man. And it's going to be, when's that supposed to be? April 8th. So it's 2 days from now. It's supposed to peak, and the peak is a lot higher than there are beds available out there. So they're going through it right now. And when that's the case, you know, on April 9th, it projected, you know, 878 deaths in that day in New York. On April 12th, it's projecting 873. And like, it's scary, right? I mean, it could have been a lot worse, but it's still, I mean, this is what happens when it just sort of flashes through your population.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's about to get rough. And I don't know if you like looked at any of like the hardcore red states like Alabama or like some of those ones that were late to adopt the stay-at-home orders. Their graphs are not looking great either. And I think it's going to be like April is going to be a tough month for rural Americans, I think, because of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just like, you know, we're all getting a little bit stir crazy with having to stay home, but this is a good reminder that like what's happening in California in terms of sheltering in place is working, but we're not there yet. And so we just got to keep doing it.
Yeah. But you know, like, I don't know. I feel like I personally have done a lot of yelling about people not staying at home on this show.
Yes, you have.
And I would just like to say, if you're a Sacramento police officer, no, no, but you know, like I do a lot of yelling about it, but like we're doing a good job. So fucking everybody, all the Sacramentans get a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, it's
Californians, I guess.
Yeah, California.
Oh, I lost you guys again. Hang on.
Here in Sac County, as of 10:15 this morning, we had only 462 confirmed cases, and we're up to 18 deaths, which I believe, you know, that's close to double what we were just a few days ago. But it's pretty good compared to what some of the other projections were, you know, a month or so ago. So, you know, it sucks. I think we're all kind of losing our minds right now. We talked about that before the show, how like, just like, oh my God, it's weird. It's weird not being around people ever. But it's for a good reason. And it's nice to see people are doing it and you know, lives are being saved.
Yeah.
So keep doing it.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, the faster we get this shit dealt with, the faster we can all go back to work or, you know, go out and enjoy a nice dinner at a restaurant around other people.
Right.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Who are you going to touch first?
All right. Well,
is that a bad question?
I'm gonna skip right over that one.
Skylar.
Yeah.
Who's it gonna? I'm like all
Skylar.
ears now for you two.
Who's it gonna be?
Who's it gonna be?
Well, I mean, I assume that it's gonna be Chief Hahn for Dave.
Yeah. We're gonna.
Oh, right.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna finally
embrace.
do like the partners Thai massage.
In our acro yoga class, we're gonna be able to.
I can't wait. I just like, Nate and I have this like, well, it's mostly my joke. He's the one that's on lockdown, so he doesn't ever leave the house while I go to work every day. We're like, probably every other day we'll be like walking outside to sit on the porch, and I'm like, so you just want to go to Bottle and grab a drink? Or like, you know, like you want to go grab some, like a burger real quick? Or and it's like, those are I just can't wait until we can go further than our porch, you know, like and I know we're all there, you know, like this is not, there is a little bit of, I don't know, I feel seen because we're all in this together, but yeah, I'll tell you what, my coworkers are great, but fuck, I want to like hang out with some other people.
Yeah.
When I go for like a solo walk on occasion, and it's like it's a weird feeling walking by a restaurant or some establishment that I remember that I frequented not but a month ago, and like just being like, what an odd feeling that I can't just decide to go there on any given day.
Yeah.
Like I get the logic behind it, why they, demanded that we shut these places down, because
100%.
people would lose their minds and just be like, I gotta go do something,
Right.
It's just a weird feeling. Like we can't, like there's nothing you can do.
Nope.
I have been supporting some local restaurants. I'll call in and get some to go from Coconut down on T Street.
Oh, get that coconut.
Yeah, you can do a to-go beer, and I assume the cops, which this is my privilege showing, won't fuck with me if I take my to-go beer and open it up for my walk home.
I mean, yeah, let us have some simple pleasures.
Either that or like 50 bored cops are going to be like, oh, sick. Mm-hmm. Get that dude.
Right.
Yeah. They'll think it's a weapon.
I've also,
for sure.
I have not supported any local businesses, food restaurants. I know words. I have not done food since this whole thing went down, but I have ordered to go cocktails from the Snug, and have loved that, just as a way to, show some community love.
Just something to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that too. Like, I'm like, yes, I'll pick it up on Saturday because then I can leave my house on a Saturday.
Right.
I tried to grab a to-go drink. Jungle Bird does some of their specials at
Tank House.
At Tank House right now. I tried to do that, but they were closed. They closed at like 8 or 9, something like that.
So wild.
And I missed it. So then I just went down to Bond Fair and got a cheap bottle of champagne and walked around the neighborhood with it, drinking it.
Did we not record the night that you had that? Or maybe we were just Zoom hanging?
We were Zoom hanging because that was the day that I had my anxiety attacks.
Oh, right,
that was me just being like, like, I'm okay.
Right.
Holy shit. I'm going to drink this right now as I walk in these darkened streets.
Well, I think,
Fair.
I mean, all of this whole tangent really ends with like, there is something about us all being in this together, and like all of a sudden we understand each other on a different level, right? Like when we get on this call, even, or like when I show up to work and I'm like, how you doing? And there's just like a collective sigh from people. It's like, we get it. We understand, the struggle of not having human interaction. And it reminds us that community is so important, and, people having those like regular connections with the people we love really are the things that sustain us.
Yeah. It's such a bizarre form of trauma. Like, who knew this would be so affecting? And no, it's good to have friends to talk to on this and to laugh about how fucking weird this all is.
Right.
Yeah. It's a wild time.
Yeah, but stay in your fucking houses.
Like, when we're old, we're going to be retelling what this was like to kids who weren't born yet.
I've started journaling daily on it because I feel like this is going to be a thing that I want to remember.
Interesting to read later, for sure.
Yeah.
Son, did I tell you about the Master of Crows pandemic?
Call!
Well, and then I remember the morning of April 6th, I had some cereal and a banana. And then I got on the computer and was there for a while. Then I had lunch.
Not my best story, actually.
Then on April 7th, I got up and had some cereal and a banana.
Had an apple that day.
Got on the computer. It was a fucking wild time.
God damn it. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, that might be all we have today.
Yeah, let's fucking call it. We're sorry about this show, guys. This has been, the universe was trying to stop this all night.
It
and
totally was.
We didn't let it happen.
By the
No, I know.
universe, you mean it's like Chief Hahn on all of our roofs, like rip, taking
Yeah,
basically like the Amelie at the beginning with the guy watching soccer.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what's happening.
Well, I want to
without a
say
doubt.
if you made it this long into the episode, we appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
We do. Yeah, this episode, we kind of we are aware that sometimes the show can be sort of, we talk about things like housing issues and folks who are experiencing homelessness, and it can be a lot to deal with, and it can be a lot to handle mentally. But I don't know. I guess I just wanted to take this opportunity to say we really appreciate you guys. This is a thing. I can't speak for Dave or Shannon or Flo, but this is a thing. Like, as somebody who doesn't have that much to do right now, this keeps me sane. Like, having this to do with these people, and this to work on in this thing. And I hope my biggest hope, I guess, is that I'm reciprocating that a little bit with you guys out there and helping to keep your brain a little, keep you on an even keel, because that's what you guys are doing for me, and I'm really appreciative of it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, ditto.
And it's amazing when listeners reach out. It's amazing when they're like, hey, consider discussing this. That means they care. They care as much or more than we do about what's going on in the state, in the city, and that really keeps me going. And I will say, there are days when I'm like, I don't feel like recording. I don't feel like getting on the call. But once I'm on and once I see all your faces, by the end of it, it's like my cup is filled again. And it's like, man, it's good to have this right now.
Yeah, totally. Same.
Yeah, and if you're out there listening and want to hear us talk about something, let us know, because, as evidence tonight, we can either talk about a topic that is like important to you, or we can just talk about how, Kempa misses meditating with Chief Hahn.
Yeah. I think we can do a little bit of both.
Way, and if we don't have anything to talk about, it will just be a whack show.
Yeah. So
no matter what, we can have fun every episode. But yeah, we do want to know what listeners actually want. So yeah,
totally.
Feel free to let us know.
Well, Dave, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys or not, but I'm unemployed and not working right now. I've been spending a lot of time scouring the internet for this great Voices content that I love so much, but I could only find what I can find, and so I wanted to ask you, is there a place where I can go to find more of this great Voices content?
Yes, there are many. And one of them, which I'm most excited about right now, is because it's been resurrected by our co-host Skylar, is our Instagram page. That's at Voices River City. And that's where the kids are hanging these days. It's
Dude,
good.
That's why I'm on it.
Yeah.
Fucking know about that shit.
It's no, it's a really important platform. So, we do updates there. We do, we try and put some imagery to what it is we're actually doing and what's going on in this town, even though nobody's allowed out of their fucking house right now. I think what you've been doing with the Instagram account's been really cool. So smash that follow button, listeners.
Smash it.
We're also at voicesrivercity.com. There's all sorts of stuff from our history, from the Voices history, community essays, Follow the Money Project, things like that. And, expect more of that, not just the podcast. We are on Twitter at Voices River City. We are on YouTube now, Voices River City. You can just subscribe to us on YouTube and you'll get to look at our pretty little faces every time we have an episode and we're talking about the news of the day. And then of course we got the Patreon page, right? patreon.com/voicesrivercity. We have, I think we're up to like 8 or 9 listeners that have pledged $25 or more a month, and we've been able to give them their merch. It's
9. We've got 9.
It's
so
so
absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Even if two of them are hosts. But that would be Shannon and Flo.
Yeah, it's not me. I make Dave reimburse me for White Claws.
Yeah. I ask you, I encourage all of you to ask me to give you money from the Voices account. So yeah, but for listeners who do want to chip in, only do it if you can and if you want to right now, right? It's a weird time. But we are on Patreon. It means the world to us when you do it. I guess that's it for the day. We're going to be starting up our merch store on the site in the next few days. Very excited about that. We'll let you know when that's up and running.
Yeah, what do we got? We have t-shirts, stickers, mugs.
Yes, we've got Voices t-shirts, Voices mugs, Voices stickers, and then we have the California sticker designed by listener Brian McComas, who's one of my favorite people in the world. It has some of the great leftists of the modern age, plus
including Garfield's
face on California. It's so good.
Jim Davis loves the shit.
Yeah.
Kempa, where would we find you on Twitter if we wanted to see what you're up to there?
Thank you very much. Yes. I am at Kempa, YOUKNOWKEMPA.
I'm guillotine for you. That's guillotine, the number 4 YOU.
Pardon me, I had to burp. I am Shan ND Stevens.
These White Claws are very burpy.
That's so fucking burpy. God.
That's when one of the greatest challenges of this show was our choice in beverage, and how that's affected our ability and during an audio session.
Right. Well, I mean, it was easier on audio because you can just kind of turn your head away from the mic and take care of it. But now we're on YouTube, so you can't get away from the camera.
They know what we're doing. I try and
100%.
lean back and like burp out my nose, and then
that's what he's doing when he does that. Just
yeah.
So
now you all know.
Knows. Yeah. Exactly.
Yikes.
All right. Well, go ahead, Shannon.
Oh, I was just gonna say that let's close this shit down. And we
are on our game today.
This is a rough episode this time.
Let's say a real big thank you, as always, to Be Brave, Bold Robot
for the music,
the wonderful tunes.
All right, all of you are the best.
We'll be back Friday to talk shit and to try and see what we can do during these trying times.
Yeah, we'll have actual things to talk about on Friday too, so it'll be like a show.
We had things this time.
We had also we started recording later than usual.
That's true.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the show. You're all great.
Enough excuses. We love you.
I bet this was a great show.
Oh God! I burped into the mic.
All right, show's over. Get out.
Cut it.
Bye.
Lights out. Cut it.
Bye. 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 Bye.